Now let me go across to Mr. Mainkar. Mr. Mainkar, your opening comments, and thank you very much for joining us.
These are, I believe, as usual, the postal ballots, but it is giving indications. But can we forget the postal ballots? What was we saw in Haryana and what ultimately came out? But I agree that it is giving indication. It's going neck to neck, both MVA and Mahayuti. With Mahayuti, of course, with BJP is the single largest party. The point which can be very important when governor calls, because technically these alliances will not be considered, but the single largest party will be considered. As it happened when Mr. Koshyari was the governor, so same thing will be repeated. So yes, BJP is having upper hand as long as these postal ballots are being counted. Now we need to see, will Haryana be repeated or will something else happen when these ballot boxes are being opened?
But secondly, when we talk about Maharashtra, what do you think was the issue ultimately which end of the elections really made the difference? Or do you think that the people somehow changed their mind after Lok Sabha elections or after Haryana elections? Because we are also witnessing a change. If we would go by the Lok Sabha elections, things should have been different in context of the assembly. But I think something has changed. The current has changed.
Well, Karthikeya, it cannot be static. We also have to understand that it's not like, what has happened in Lok Sabha will remain static for rest of the year. A lot changes. People vent their frustration by, voting against one particular party. But then, later on when it comes to assembly election, it's a completely different dynamics altogether. We also saw how, there was a major friction between RSS and BJP. And I think that gave a body blow to the BJP in the Lok Sabha election. In Haryana, they were back together. In Maharashtra also, they are working overtime to make sure that the BJP comes to power. But I think, as I have been maintaining right from word go, it's going to be a very close fight there in Jharkhand and also in NDA. And even if you like, as Mr. Manikar said, go by the early trends and all, I mean, it's pointing towards that only. So it's going to be very, very fascinating, whether katoge to batoge will work, or whether, the soybean, the Chhattisgarh model, which Congress implemented in Maharashtra, whether that will usurp the Ladki Bahna scheme, which, the BJP announced at the nth hour. So, I guess in another couple of hours, the picture will be a lot more clearer as to what worked and what didn't.
Karthikeya, okay. One important point is, even during the Lok Sabha, what appeared like a total advantage for the India alliance in Maharashtra was only in terms of seats. If you look at the votes, the difference between the NDA and the India alliance was a mere 1%. So it was such a tight fight. And number two, very important, after all, NDA has won Maharashtra. It will be for the third consecutive time. So a pro-incumbency for the third consecutive time is a major victory for the BJP in a state which, if you look at the history of Maharashtra, the Congress government lasted the longest in terms of compared to all other states in India. So as if the Congress, which was the major state almost till the year 1995, has suddenly completely disappeared. It's a minor player, and the BJP, which has come up, has maintained a lead for the last 3 elections. Never mind the changes that took place when we saw the coming of, Thakre's government, because after all, Sharad Pawar did this kind of out-of-box solution where he broke the Shiv Sena. But actually, if you look, the last chief minister who was chief minister for 5 years was Devendra Fadnavis. So BJP anyway is going to be the single largest party. They are contesting maximum number of seats. So it is basically not only a Mahayuti victory, it's a BJP victory in Maharashtra.
Okay. Victory in Maharashtra. But there's one seat, I'm really deviating from the topic, which, always stays with me. What will happen in Kedarnath? It's one seat. It's one seat.
It's not one seat, Karthikeya.
But it's very important.
Pivotal of BJP's, narration. that you know that in Badrinath they lost, in Ayodhya they lost. I think the loss of Ayodhya pinched them more than the loss in Uttar Pradesh. And I think what it does is that it kind of dents your narrative. You know, the overarching Hindutva narrative which you champion, which you espouse, and you get you lose elections in Ayodhya, you lose elections in Badrinath, and if you go on to lose election in Kedarnath, I think that will definitely dent their the way they champion their the Hindutva narrative.
Hindutva narrative. Do you think this doubling down of Hindutva narrative has actually worked for Bharatiya Janata Party?
Well, I think much more than, of course, the Hindutva narrative is working. It polarizes voters all across. But I think if you look at Maharashtra, I still think the game changer in Maharashtra is the Ladli Behna scheme. 2.5 crore women getting 7,500 rupees right before the elections has a major impact in a country where you have large-scale poverty in the rural areas. Even in Maharashtra, which is the #1 sort of economically rich state of India, even there, the rural poverty and all around, if you go outside Mumbai and if you travel around, whether it is Vidarbha, whether it is Marathwada, we have seen droughts there, we have seen farmers protest, we have seen farmers committing suicide. So there is a lot of poverty there. And the money coming directly into the hands of the women. I think this was Shinde's brilliance. And he has kind of, along with Devendra Fadnavis, has swung the election in a major way. Because what we saw in one of the exit polls that we discussed yesterday, Kartike, 11% advantage in terms of percentage vote is a rare phenomena today in Indian politics. It happened in Madhya Pradesh last time, and now it is happening in Maharashtra. So think of it. In Lok Sabha, they were -1%. Today, they are plus 11%. If that exit poll holds true, this is a remarkable change. This is a remarkable
Ajit,
advantage.
if that 11% holds, I mean, it's a clean sweep and plus 10.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, if 11% holds, so we have to see how, what is the percentage difference as far as
almost a 10% swing in favor of the BJP. Now, this has been brought about because of some local mantra, and I think it's the Ladli Behna scheme.
Okay, we have got a couple of reactions. Our reporter has also done an interview. Let's play them.
तो आज नतीजों का दिन है और सिद्धिविनायक के दर पर तमाम बड़े चेहरे पहुंच रहे हैं और सर क्या मन्नत लेकर आप भी पहुंचे?
मैं ऐसे 10-15 दिन में एक बार बापा का दर्शन करता हूं। आज काउंटिंग का दिन है तो मैं बोला बापा का दर्शन से दिन की शुरुआत करें और वही गणपति बापा से प्रार्थना किया।
एक नई शुरुआत के पहले कहते हैं कि विघ्नहर्ता के दर्शन करना माना जाता है। आज महाराष्ट्र में कोई नई शुरुआत या जो चल रहा है वही नजर आ रहा है?
बापा से एक ही प्रार्थना किया है कि महाराष्ट्र में महायुति की सरकार वापस बैठे।
और आपको लग रहा है कि ये दरखास्त वो सुनेंगे, और सुनेंगे तो क्यों?
बिल्कुल सुन ली है और आज शाम तक आपको पता चल रहा है कि फिर महाराष्ट्र में एक बार महायुति की सरकार आने जा रही है।
लड्डुओं का ऑर्डर हो गया?
बिल्कुल हो गया, लड्डू फटाके सब ऑर्डर हो गए।
पटाखे फुस होंगे ऐसा उद्धव ठाकरे ने जो कहा था?
वे उद्धव ठाकरे टोमड़ा मारने में एक उस्ताद है, उसमें ज़्यादा मैं नहीं बोलूँगा, बड़े नेता है, लेकिन महाराष्ट्र में महायुति की सरकार बैठ रही है।
मुख्यमंत्री की कोई बात अभी जल्दबाजी है, लेकिन मैं एक बार जानना चाहूँगा क्योंकि दर्शक जानना चाहते हैं। मुख्यमंत्री
उसमें मैं एक छोटा कार्य करता हूँ, ये तय दिल्ली और हमारे वरिष्ठ नेता महाराष्ट्र के करते हैं, लेकिन महायुति की सरकार बैठेगी उतना मैं जरूर बता सकता हूँ।
आपको बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं।
थैंक यू।
सुनिश्चित हम लोग जीतने वाले हैं और एक तरफा रिजल्ट आने वाले। लोगों ने भरपूर आशीर्वाद हमको दोनों झारखंड और महाराष्ट्र में दिया है और लोग चाहते हैं कि दोनों में डबल इंजन की सरकार हो। के सीन सपने देखने में कोई बुराई नहीं है, अब उनको सपने देखने की आदत है, देखते रहे, परंतु सच ये है कि लोगों ने जो हमारी सरकार थी, जिस प्रकार से हम लोगों ने लाभकारी नीतियां वहां पे लागू करी, जिस प्रकार से हमने लाडली बहना लागू करी, उसके चलते हुए लोग हमको भरपूर आशीर्वाद देने लगे और खासकर बहनें और माताएं खूब आशीर्वाद देंगी।
ना, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि पूरे चुनाव के अंदर जात और धर्म की राजनीति हुई है। मुद्दों पर कोई चर्चा नहीं हुई, मुद्दों पर कोई आगे चला नहीं। ये बड़ी दुख की बात है और उसके साथ मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि पूरे महाराष्ट्र में पूरा अस्थिर है, ना आघाड़ी ना युति, बीच में कहीं रुकना पड़ेगा और हमारे सिवा सरकार बनेगी नहीं। अगर हमारे सिवा सरकार नहीं बनती और आंकड़े अगर परफेक्ट आ जाते हैं तो हमारी सरकार बनाएंगे। वो मुझे जो गुने दाखिल किए थे अभी उसका न्यायालय ने मुझे निर्दोष मुक्तता की है, मैं उस न्यायालय का आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। कि 10 साल इस केस चली और आज मुझे मुक्तता मिली है।
I think that too many changes required. 15 years you had an MLA, but no development at all. Cluster redevelopment and housing is the biggest issue for people in Mumbai Devi. If you look at women, what do women want? They want safety, security. There are no hospitals, there are no schools. Unfortunately, open spaces is a distant dream. So I think an entire blueprint needs to be chalked out with a proper development plan to make it into a model constituency, because unfortunately today it's probably the most backward constituency in Maharashtra.
How did you reach the voters there, since demography plays a very significant role, and Amin Patel?
You know, I have never played divisive politics. I've tried to take everyone along in every sense. But having said that, there are certain parties that only appease vote banks and play pseudo-secular politics. I think we need to move beyond that. The time has come to only talk about development, and the younger generation understands that. The women have been so inspired by the Chief Minister's Ladki Behan Yojana and the kind of applause that women have given to this scheme, because their lives have been empowered. So in Mumbai Devi, of 40,000 women, you have 15,000 Ladki Behans, which are Muslims. So everyone has come along and supported, and I'm sure it will be a historic victory.
Now let me go across to Reni Abraham, our panelist. Jayant Benkar also joins me. Pooja Tripathi from Congress Party is with us, and Mr. Balakrishnan is with us. Good morning, Reni. Your opening comments on the numbers which are out. You don't have to go for them. You know, you can just you can look at them and and make your answer.
A very good morning to you, Karthikeya. And I must point out that the higher voter percentage turnout on election day in Maharashtra, the lowest voter turnout seat, if I may cite it, is Kolaba. And Kolaba had witnessed 41% of voting in the last hustings, and it has registered a 44% voting percentage, 3% increase. So that is the one strong trend that we can start off with without even looking at any of these leads that are being shown. But that is what the NDA was feeling strongly about, that the incremental voting percentage would mean that more Hindu votes have translated in their direction. Having said that, the MVA is very clear that they are going to form government. I spoke to a former chief minister yesterday, Prithviraj Chavan, and he said, look, we are going to be the winning combination in Maharashtra, though conceding that they may still need some additional MLA support to reach the magic figure of 145. So what is clear is this: it will be the BJP leading in the Yuti alliance, followed by the Eknath Shinde Shiv Sena and the Ajit Pawar faction. And in the MVA, it will be the Congress that will be leading in the number of seats, followed by Sharad Pawar's NCP and the Shiv Sena. So these are basic things that are understood. Both combinations insisting that they are going to form government. The incremental vote that has taken place.
Sorry, I'm Reni, I'm moving you to a very important development, which my news editor Varghese Abraham is telling me, and Varghese is telling me Palakkad BJP candidate has increased its constituency lead by 1,016 vote in Kerala. Reni.
Absolutely. See, you're seeing this new emerging trend in Kerala as, opinion polls right after elections, right after the vote was done. And you saw a huge number of Christians on camera insisting that they were going to go, and they have gone and backed the BJP candidate. I mean, which is a changing trend in Kerala. The Christian community may not be a huge component, but generally they have been, particularly the Orthodox Syrian Christians, as well as the Roman Catholics, they have basically been the power centers in Kerala. Typically the population that was landlords. And so this trend is emerging very clearly this time, as you point out in Palakkad. But Christians coming on camera and saying it right after the vote that, look, we see BJP as the option. So I wouldn't be surprised. And as I said, even in Jharkhand, I said a BJP surprise is not going to be unlikely per se. So we are seeing this changing dynamic of the political template of India, if you will, where as against held beliefs, there is chances of government formation.